Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are going to go full circle, as this is a video that I do for teams when the franchise hits a point where they need a shakeup. They get shooken up, and it's usually because of a culture change. And I think for the New York Rangers, you don't want to dwell in the past, especially now. It's over. They got their revenge on the Washington Capitals, but I want to discuss this because I think this is something that has been, unfortunately kind of an underutilized storyline going into the playoffs. It was Rempe versus Wilson between the Capitals and the Rangers, and we didn't see the fight. We didn't see much scuffle. Rempe really made a conscious effort to stay away from Wilson. The irony that Peter Laviolette was behind the bench for the Washington Capitals when this incident happened back a few years ago. We're going to go over some dates, go over some timelines, some things that have happened since then, and ultimately what led up to today. So, May 3rd of 2021. The stadiums were not at full capacity. Remember the ads around the lower bowl because, players and fans couldn't be that close to each other, and, they were limiting the seating at the stadiums and things like that. It wasn't that long ago, guys, but it has been 3 years since then. And now that is May, now it is officially 3 years since this incident. The other day was the anniversary of this shakeup. May 3rd of 2021, the New York Rangers take on the Washington Capitals at Madison Square Garden. I'd love to show you guys the clips, but I tried making this video the other day, and I couldn't monetize it. So unfortunately, listen guys, I do need to make a little money here. So with that said, Tom Wilson goes after, so basically there's a scrum in front of the net, and Pavel Buchnevich is down on the ice. Tom Wilson goes behind him and starts punching him in the back of the neck, the back of the head, his back, and he's just going to town on a pretty vulnerable Pavel Buchnevich, basically throwing his face into the ice. Ryan Strome sees it, immediately jumps in. Yeah, Ryan Strome, when he was on the Rangers, goes after him. Then Panarin gets involved, jumps on Wilson's back, basically like a little kid jumping on his dad's back. Panarin jumps to defend Pavel Buchnevich, and then Wilson goes around, somehow grabs Panarin. We know Panarin is not a fighter. He is not getting paid basically $11 million by the Rangers to be hitting Tom Wilson. Wilson takes him, basically just body slams him to the ice and starts laying into him while he's on the ground. And that was a shakeup for the New York Rangers and led to what a couple of days later on May 5th would be a rematch at the Garden between the Capitals and the Rangers. We saw another fight. And Brendan Smith was the guy to come in for the Rangers, not the guy that really should have been. And I think that was a really pivotal point because who was David Quinn, who was the Rangers coach at the time? I know, only 3 years. The Rangers now were on the third coach since then. But it's interesting to see how that kind of shift happened, right? The Rangers didn't have somebody to fight back with Tom Wilson. So it was Brendan Smith, and he held his own in the fight, but he got beat. And that was kind of a message to the Rangers, like, yeah, the toughest guy on the Rangers got his boot kicked in a little bit, if you know what I'm saying, by Tom Wilson. The guy they could prep anybody to go up against Wilson to defend Panarin and Buchnevich and Strome, and the guy they had was Brendan Smith, and he got it handed to him by Wilson. So what do you do next? Because now you have nobody to throw out there at Wilson. But this was a few years ago. So the solution, of course, was, the Rangers sent out a letter. Now, mind you, I remember 2021. It was a good year for me as an Islander fan because the Islanders were on their second year of going to the Eastern Conference Final to Tampa. The Rangers were embarrassed by their crosstown rivals. The Islanders were beating them at Madison Square Garden. Varlamov had back-to-back shutouts at MSG. The Ranger fans they were like, why are we going to go to a game against the Islanders? Because Barry Trotz and the Islanders are just shutting us down. We got nothing. Wilson's beating up on the Rangers. If you saw the thumbnail, Wilson's kind of like doing the stupid thing without his jersey on to his teammates, kind of mocking the Rangers. That was a pivotal point for the Rangers and their fan base. They were upset. Ownership was upset. The fan base was upset. The team was upset. And the Rangers, an original six proud franchise, was embarrassed. And things have changed a lot since then, as we all know. Over those years, they would get bigger, bringing in Jacob Trouba, Ryan Reeves, to a lesser extent, Barclay Goodrow. And the Rangers became a different team, a different identity of what they were in 2021. They were no longer going to get pushed around by their rivals like the Islanders and the Capitals. And since then, we've seen the Rangers go to the Eastern Conference Finals against Tampa. They played the Devils in the first round, and they find themselves winning the President's Trophy in 2024. And ultimately beating the Washington Capitals in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Matthew Rempe kind of being the deterrent against Tom Wilson. And things have definitely changed since then. And the Rangers have kind of overcome that. They don't even care about Tom Wilson anymore. A, Wilson was kind of irrelevant in that series. And B, they're better than it. They are better than it. The Rangers are at a point right now where they weren't going to get caught up in the BS with the Capitals because they knew they were the better team. And if they stuck to their game, got the power plays they were given by Tom Wilson at points, they were going to win this series. And they did. And it's kind of interesting because 3 years ago, I remember making a video very much the opposite of this one. The state of the address for the Rangers, that they were getting pushed around and bullied by teams like the Islanders and Capitals. And now, a few years later, they seem to be the creme de la creme of the National Hockey League and no longer looking at their bitter rivals the same way. I figured it was something I wanted to make here. This was a video that I think that is kind of encompassing. I've done this video on teams like the Islanders. I've done this on the Oilers when they needed to get bigger to protect McDavid. The Islanders when they were disrespected by the Penguins. You know, a lot of cheap hits on guys like Tavares, Blake Comeau, and things like that. But this was something for the Rangers that, like I said, a proud original six franchise that just celebrated their 100-year anniversary a couple years ago. This meant something. This was a pivotal season for the Rangers. It's the 30-year anniversary since they won the Stanley Cup in '94. It's the 3-year anniversary since the incident with Tom Wilson. And I figured this was a video that had to be made and had to be talked about because we forget, you know, what's the saying? The internet never forgets, but people forget. People forget very quickly. And I think this is an incident that I needed to bring and kind of refresh because I think a lot of people did forget just where the Rangers were a couple years ago. And it's something that I think is, you know, as much, depending on how far or how, you know, how maybe short of a distance the Rangers come in this year's playoff run, I think it's important to remember where they came from just a few years ago. So that's going to do it for today's video. Guys, if you like this content, want to see more videos like this, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again next time. Peace out, guys.